Sony has finally revealed all 20 games for the PlayStation Classic, so what are we looking at? Well, we still have the original 5. We have Tekken 3, Ridge Racer 4, Final Fantasy 7, Wild Arms, and Jumping Flash. He added one new fighting game, Battle Arena Toshinden. A couple racing games, Cool Borders 2, and Destruction Derby. We got some car combat and driving games with Grand Theft Auto and Twisted Metal. The puzzle games include Intelligent Cube, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, and Mr. Driller. We have one new RPG with Revelations Persona, first-person shooter with Rainbow Six, a couple side-scrollers with Rayman and Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, and a few action-adventure horror games with Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil Director's Cut, and Siphon Filter. So here's what I think about this list. I don't have a problem independently on any game on this list. But were all these games good choices? I didn't have a problem with the original 5 that they listed. They're all pretty high profile games, all really good in their own regard, as are all the games in this list. You have a great fighting game with Tekken 3, great racing game with Ridge Racer 4, an incredible RPG with Final Fantasy 7 and Wild Arms. Jumping Flash is kind of an odd one, but it was one of the original games, and when you think Jumping Flash, you do think the PlayStation. The same can be said for Battle Arena Toshinden. It's not the best fighter on the system, but it is a well-known series. I agree with Cool Borders 2. I think it was a good pick for the system. Again, it was popular back when it came out, and it introduced a lot of gamers to snowboarding games. Destruction Derby I actually don't have any experience with. I never played this back in the day. I've heard of the series, but it didn't really grab my attention to really get into it. Grand Theft Auto was a great choice. The series is still around, and you'll have those people who want to know where this series started, and they can do that by getting the PlayStation Classic. Twisted Metal, I'm not really sure why they went with the first one and not the second one. It was way more popular, a better game overall, so this one really confuses me. I'm not sure why they chose the first one. Intelligent Cube is a great choice. It's a really fun puzzle game. It's actually really difficult to find this game. I don't think it's come out on many platforms, so this was a really good choice for Sony. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 is one of the best puzzle games ever, probably the best puzzle game on the system, so a really excellent choice adding this to the lineup. Mr. Driller. We're going to come back to this one. I'm really happy that Sony took a chance and decided to add mature rated games such as Metal Gear Solid. This was a must-have. I think they made a smart choice with adding this game. Super well known. Everybody wanted this game on the system. Same with Resident Evil. They went with the director's cut. Not sure why they didn't go with 2. Again, I think that was a better choice to make. Still, if you're not going to have 2, I would get the director's cut. If I was choosing horror in general, I would probably pick Silent Hill over Resident Evil 1, but not over Resident Evil 2. Siphon Filter, I can't say I have any experience with, but I do know it is a very popular series, and it was popular back on the PlayStation, so I have no arguments on this game. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey was an excellent choice that I didn't think of when I made my initial video on what I thought the game should be. I spent so much time on this game and Abe's Exodus. It is one of the best, I would call it a platformer, puzzler, side-scroller type game. The story is excellent, the graphics. I remember the FMVs were such high quality, and the gameplay was like nothing that you've played before. I could take or leave Rayman. I didn't have a lot of experience with the game. I do remember playing it back originally when it came out. I wasn't too impressed with it. It seemed kind of generic. It had a lot of colors, and I remember Sony was pushing that. It had thousands of colors on screen at once to push it away from the old 16-bit consoles, say how new this type of game is, when it wasn't too bad. Rainbow Six, I have no idea why Sony thought it would be a good idea to put a first-person shooter on here with no dual analog controls. I did not play this game before. I tried it out a little bit now for this video, and the controls, I am not impressed at all. If Sony decided to go with a first-person shooter, I would have picked maybe the Medal of Honor series. So Persona is a great game. I love this game. I did beat it. I had a strategy guide for it. It is a great RPG, but I don't think it really fits on at least the American PlayStation, when there are so many other RPGs that American players know a lot better than the Persona series, such as Legend of Dragoon, which was created by Sony's own company. Or how about the Suikoden series? That was really popular as well. This would have been a great opportunity for Sony to put Suikoden 2 on here, which is one of the hardest and most expensive games to find on the system, to introduce players to it. The only reason I can think of that they put Persona on here is because of how well the newer games like 4 and 5 have been doing. So again, they may be trying to tailor to those fans, saying, hey, here's where the series started. take a look. Okay, so Mr. Driller, this one, I have no idea why they included it. They already had 2 really good puzzle games on here with Intelligent Cube, and probably the best puzzle game maybe ever made with Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, so why include Mr. Driller? This boggles my mind completely. And it's not because I don't like puzzle games. I'm not a huge fan of puzzle games, but I can play them okay. But it's because I didn't even know this existed on the PlayStation. I thought this was a Game Boy Advance game. Had no idea this was out for the PlayStation. So why would you include this and waste a spot on the games list with Mr. Driller of all games? And the Japanese version has 8 games that we don't get over here. They have the first 2 Arc the Lad games, G-Darius, Gradius Gaiden, Armored Core, Devil Dice, Saga Frontier, and Parasite Eve. Why does Japan get Parasite Eve and Saga Frontier and we get Mr. Driller? I think a large group of the people who owned PlayStations here in the States were RPG fans. There are really so many of them over here, especially Squaresoft. And Armored Core, that was an excellent game over here that we don't get to see. I would have gladly traded Toshinden for Armored Core. So overall the selection wasn't bad, but I think they could have done a lot better. Do you agree with my opinions? Do you think maybe Sony should have changed the lineup a little bit better? Do you think there are games that we should have gotten that we didn't? Let me know in the comments. I am still very excited for this console. The PlayStation may be my most favorite console out of them all. Yes, they could have made different decisions, but I am still excited for it. Thank you all so much for watching, and please once again let me know how you feel about this list. See you next time.